I feel a sense of gratification indeed, having been appointed by the great supreme architect of the universe to be the one upon whose shoulders the responsibilities contained in these documents must in great measures rest. This morning we have with us so many distinguished friends, and I call you friends, the deepest sense of seriousness and meaningfulness. We're very happy that you've come to witness this historic. I am glad that you've made it possible to come and to see for yourselves and to enjoy for yourselves the warmth of friendship of the people of this country. What has happened here this morning has made me feel confident to face the future with fortitude, with strength, and with hopefulness. The measure taken by the British government and Her Majesty the Queen have brought to us great joy and happiness. And I take pleasure in recording thankfulness to Her Majesty for giving her assent to the necessary bills, and indeed to the members of Parliament, both in the House of Representatives, House of Commons, and in the House of Lords. The enemies of progress of this country have worked hard, assiduously hard. The voice, the large but silent majority has spoken. Now is the time for goodwill. Now is the time for unity. Now is the time for reconstruction. And so I now appeal to all Grenada in its totality to join her heads, hearts and hands in unity to repair the damage done and to build a Grenada for ourselves and for posterity. I invite all opposition factions to let me hear from them as soon as possible regarding the reaction to my appeal. God bless you. On behalf of government and the people, it is with the deepest feeling and the thankfulness with which I, on their behalf and on my behalf, have had the great pleasure and honor of receiving the instruments.
We are Grenadians, and who are you? Blind of spice, when everything's nice, Grenadians, may God bless you.
Maria, the artist behind the Sir Gairy statue that you're going to unveil soon. Now this is just a rambling to come forward. Tell us how this started.
So, well, it started a few years ago when Senator Brenda Hood was unveiling my a little sculpture which is outside the airport, the dances. That sculpture is based on Grenadian artist Benjamin. And we started to talk about possibility of making a statue to commemorate Sir Eric.
How did you approach it? From a picture?
Well, I first started to read about Sir Eric so that I know more. I got a book, very interesting book. Well, that was slightly later where the book of his life was published. But by then I already sort of read what the internet is a great place to find information. So first I started with that and read as much as possible, talked to some people who knew him. I have a few friends who knew him as well and worked with him and so on. So we started like that.
Started doing research,
Started my research. I wanted to know what kind of person he was. I talked to Senator Brenda Hood as well quite a bit about it. And so then I discovered that he was a very elegant man and very handsome, of course, which comes through his photographs. And so then we decided that he would be portrayed wearing a white suit.
Which was his favorite color.
Which was his, yes. And so then I started to look for a model. I wanted him to be upright and approaching people, talking to people, being very, very presentable as he was. I found somebody who sort of vaguely looked like him.
Really?
A person here, well, vaguely.
Yeah.
And he had white suit.
Okay.
Which was also a help. So I took some photographs of that person, and this is how it started. So the posture has started that way, and then the colors. Once I had that worked out, it was a question of finding the right foundry to do the casting.
Before you go into the foundry, I'd want to get a little bit of who is Maria, the artist. You obviously been doing this sort of work for a long time.
Yes, I have done a lot of things in my life, but I have worked with bronze and did a lot of sculptures in London. I was based in London before I came to Grenada. I have been in Grenada now almost 20 years.
Okay.
But before I came here, I did some very big projects in England, which includes Egyptian hall and Egyptian escalator in Harrods, which contain miles and miles of bronze work, and also glass. I also work not just with bronze, but I also work with glass. So I was quite well experienced with bronze, and also I have also done a big sculpture. I was representing Grenada in a special symposium in China, where I did a big sculpture. Well, I actually went all over the world researching foundries for that sculpture because I wanted the two colors. So finally I found one foundry, which is actually the oldest foundry in China. And so I contacted them, and then it turned out that they can help me because they can work with two metals. So they work with stainless steel and bronze.
How did this process happen? Were you making yourself available in China, communicating from Grenada, because that's pretty far away?
I spent over a month in China when I was working on the sculpture, and then visited probably about 10 foundries.
So you found that the Chinese were the best fit for it?
Well, this is the only, and I can vouch for it, that this is the only foundry that can cast stainless steel. It's amazing work. It's extremely difficult material to work with. It's extremely hard, and they just conquer it.
What was the process like? What the length of time involved? Because certainly this is quite a lot of work.
Yes, it took a long time. It took a long time, and it also took a lot of ingenuity on part of Senator Brenda Hood to find the foundings.
For the curious ones out there, how did you get that statue here? By ship, by plane?
Oh, no, it was shipped.
Yeah.
Yes, it was shipped, but funny enough, when it was shipped, we waited for it for so long, and yet we were not ready for it.
Oh, okay.
Quite. So I had to take the crate into my garden, where it stayed for a couple of months or so until we started work in the botanical gardens.
The botanical gardens. The botanical gardens is very precious to Sir Eric Matthews. He held his office there. He was very proud of the botanical gardens. So ideal spot for that. Walk us through the process in putting the statue up in the botanical garden.
The general idea behind the sculpture was that it was Sir Eric for people, because he was so much people's person, and being like that, I didn't want to put him on any more big monument. I wanted him to be more on the level with everyone, so you can come up closer, you can touch him. So this is, I think this is working very well. I found a very nice big stone. It was quite a journey as well, almost as complicated as Sir Eric's journey. And we had to bring it from the quarry to the garden. That's where the plaque is placed. Yes.
Interesting, very interesting. So we are going to see this shortly.
Yes.
That statue. But you know, there's always some little critics about the place, and it is said that is he going to be in a white suit?
No, the suit is stainless steel.
That's right.
And yes, and I had a lot of criticism about his brown shoes.
His brown shoes.
But his brown shoes are it's bronze.
It's bronze.
So we need to represent our colors with the material that we have. So so bronze is it's this very noble material, and so is the stainless steel.
But the idea is not to represent him in his regular wear, but as an iconic figure.
Yes.
In bronze.
It's now a symbol.
A symbol.
Yes.
And as we speak about symbol, a lot of people expect a statue to look exactly like an individual, but this is not the case.
Well, I think it looks very much like Sir Eric, and that was confirmed by his children.
Well, there you go. You don't need any further endorsement than that.
I feel quite happy about this, yes. And I worked really a long time and quite hard with the foundry to make sure that he looked as close to his likeness as possible.
But generally, you don't see the dimple and the particular eye or whatever, you know.
Well,
to
no,
that extent. It's a replica. It's a
replica. That's right, and you don't really want this to look exactly like a living person.
Precisely.
Because it's a monument.
Precisely. Maria, you're charming, and I'm sure that Grenadians will appreciate the work that you have done on this particular occasion.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.